Let's get this thing going. How's it going, folks? Thank you for joining me once again for a lunchtime live stream. And today for lunch, we're going back to a classic. One of my videos from a long time ago, I think it was back from 2016, still gets some of the most views of any of the videos that I put up, is one in which I ate 6 cans of cake frosting. Which, I guess, you know, if there's like a calorie density to popularity, something along those lines of those videos, I guess maybe it makes sense. But folks love to watch me eating cake frosting, and it turns out that it's kind of a thing. Like there's quite a few like cake frosting eating videos on the internet. So bottoms up. I went for a 50-mile bike ride yesterday, so I'm feeling pretty depleted today. It took me almost 3 hours to finish. So I think having something that's nice and packed with sugar, packed with tons of fat, tons of calories, is going to do me wonders in keeping my energy up, making sure that I've got high blood sugar so that I can bring, you know, at least somewhat of an entertaining live stream to you guys today. So yeah, I've been working from home for several months now. According to my lunchtime live stream count, this is number 83, plus or minus. I may or may not have, like, you know, missed a number counting up in those. Who knows? Maybe I missed one. Maybe I double counted something. But I've been doing this for like 4 months now, which is kind of amazing. So thank you guys for continuing to want to like hang out and watch these things. It's always fun to see what you guys have to say, to you know, interact with people during lunch, to just like stay in touch with folks that are out there, especially in this time when it is really tough to really like keep connected with people in your social circle when you're all locked down and everything along those lines. So if anybody's watching this in the distant future, this is a time where a pandemic has struck the world and we're all trying to stay as far as like physically distant from each other as possible. That's really wearing on people. But, you know, we're all trying to hang in there, trying to keep ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally happy and healthy and those kinds of things. Man, is this the kind of thing that anybody out there has ever like sat down and eaten? I mean, a little bit of frosting on top of a cake is one thing, and like having just a little smidge to like kind of get that flavor in your mouth is a little bit interesting. But man, just eating spoonfuls of this, this is the kind of thing where I know that later today I'm going to regret this, but that is all right. Let's see here. This is 14 servings, 140 calories, 22 grams of carbohydrate per serving, which comes out to, I don't know, a lot. Let's see, what is 14 squared? That is right around 2,000 calories, I believe. All right, let's get right into it. I know it's fun to watch me just like slurp down a bunch of fat and sugar, but as per usual, it's always fun to like talk about some kind of interesting subject that's always top of mind. And I've been thinking a little bit lately about like the actual meaning of what it means to be intelligent and to be smart and everything along those lines, and how I feel like over my lifetime, the definition and what it means to be intelligent has actually changed quite a bit. Where, you know, when I was a wee young lad in grade school and in high school and things along those lines, when I was first like starting my, you know, educational journey, as it were, through the school system, to be intelligent, to be smart, basically meant to like memorize a lot of facts and to know a lot of things, to be able to regurgitate it on demand, you know, basically like something that sounds like it's a good definition of being intelligent. But that has really changed nowadays. I mean, when everybody has a smartphone, access to the internet at their fingertips, you know, at any time, any place, you can look up any single fact that you want on the internet. All of a sudden, like, memorizing things and being familiar with certain facts, even about really complex subjects, like it no longer puts you a step above everybody else because that's something that everybody has access to. So, like, I feel like the school system has like been really slow to catch up on this trend where like standardized testing and things along those lines, and just testing in general of general intelligence and being graded in schools is all based on basically how well you're able to memorize the facts that are laid out in a school curriculum. And I do think that that's really unfortunate. But like younger people in media have kind of picked up on the fact that being smart no longer means just holding a lot of facts in your head. And nowadays, being intelligent means like being able to understand people, being able to think critically about the kinds of information that you are digesting, to be able to determine, to think independently, and to determine like the veracity of what it is that you're being fed in terms of like whether you're something that you're reading online might be fake news or something along those lines. And to be able to have interpersonal intelligence, to be able to recognize certain aspects in the people that you're communing with, and in the people that you're interacting with, so that you are able to, just like have this understanding, to have this. It's almost like having a divergent intellect instead of a convergent intellect, where instead of taking things into your head and just recognizing that, being able to generate your own ideas and your own interpretation of the world in a way that is accurate. I know all of that is kind of strange, but like hopefully it makes sense. And it is a little bit of like an ephemeral and kind of like a wishy-washy way of seeing things. And it is unfortunate. I think, well, I don't know if unfortunate is the right word, but it is, life used to be a lot simpler where being intelligent just meant that you knew things. But it is a lot more complex than that nowadays. I think that's borne out a little bit in the idea that being like logically adept, being able to problem solve, things like that, are becoming a little bit more well recognized as signs of intelligence, not just a regurgitation of facts. And it does still hold true a little bit to some degree. Just straight up knowing a lot of things is a sign of intelligence. And because, like, there's a whole body of knowledge out there that's basically impossible to understand and recognize the entire body of knowledge in humanity. I think there's this great illustration that I've seen explained a couple of times to me about what it means to, like, go through the school system, as it were, and how it affects your body of knowledge and how that is associated with the entire body of knowledge of the human race. So let's say that, I think this is kind of a fun illustration to go through, but let's say that this is my super advanced image program, paint.net. Great, great alternative to Microsoft Paint, in my opinion. But let's say that this circle represents the entirety of all human knowledge. And then when you go to, when you're born, you basically don't know a whole lot about anything. So this is a good representation of like how much you know about the entirety, like compared to how much every single human being on Earth knows. Ooh, pardon me. So when you're born, your understanding of the world is this basically like this blank slate, where it's completely empty is basically what I'm getting at. So when you go to school, you start learning, when you're like in like elementary school, you start learning just this little bit right in the middle where you learn a little bit about everything. So it ends up being this like little blot right in the middle of human knowledge. So you get a little tiny slice of everything where you're learning a little bit of mathematics, you're learning a little bit about language, you're learning a little bit about history, every single subject. And then as you go through high school, that expands out basically in the same way, where you're learning, again, just a little bit more about everything. And at this point, you've got a pretty good grasp of like the core understanding of all human knowledge. but well, I should say of all the different aspects of human knowledge, but but you don't have a very like deep grasp of any single particular knowledge. Now you can specialize a little bit as you go into like secondary education, but not a whole lot. And ooh, pardon me. And now in America we call that high school. It's probably called something different. I think it is called something different in different parts of the world. But this is like basically the first 12 years that you're in an education system. You are learning, like I said, it's like a really well-rounded education where you're learning a little bit about every single subject out there. And then when you go off to college, that's when you start to kind of specialize a little bit. So your body of knowledge then starts to skew towards some particular subject. That's why it's like skewed up a little bit. So you're learning, again, a little bit about everything, but you're starting to specialize. So you're getting a lot deeper knowledge into one particular subject, one or two particular subjects. For example, how delicious cake frosting is. And I do have to say, having high blood sugar definitely does help with being sharp, being on the ball. Hopefully, as I eat and I raise my blood sugar, I'll stop stuttering, stop missing words quite as much. I've noticed that in some of these live streams, I start out with a whole lot of like stuttering and saying things like or and these filler words. But as I progress through these live streams, I start to kind of like, get my energy back. Really shows that maybe I should have a little bit more of a well-rounded breakfast that's giving me more steady energy throughout the day. So anyway, as I was saying, you start your college experience, you specialize a little bit, but you're still usually learning a little bit of everything. And then maybe you go get, if you graduate with a bachelor's degree in whatever field it was that you wanted to get your bachelor's degree in, maybe you want to go on and get a master's degree. Now, when you get a master's degree, that's like really specializing. That's basically taking only classes in the subject that you want to learn about. I've said before that I'm getting my master's degree in electrical engineering. And the biggest difference that honestly surprised me a little bit is that I am only taking classes that are associated with electrical engineering. That is all I'm taking. I'm not taking any math classes, not taking any English classes, nothing. It's just engineering, just talking about electrons, and that's like it. So that's when you're getting really deep into one specific subject. But as you see, you are like learning almost everything there is to know about one subject, but there's still this little bit right at the top where you're not stretching out quite to the very edge. Now, if you really want to specialize in a certain subject, then you might even go to get a doctoral degree, go to some doctoral program. And then you fill out with just the last little bit of human knowledge. And now, the thing about getting a doctorate, the reason why it's so difficult is you actually have to expand that little bit of human knowledge in your specific subject area. So, you learn everything there is to know, and you push really hard. You study your butt off. You do research to try to find something new, something novel that nobody has ever thought before. And that, if you try really hard, you might just expand human knowledge just a wee bit. So let me see if I can't find. So all of a sudden, human knowledge just gets, human knowledge just grows by a wee tiny bit. And that's basically what like going through the typical education system is nowadays. And like, honestly, like I said, it used to be, being smart used to be, if you go through, get your bachelor's degree, which is kind of like the American dream, is just learning and expanding your understanding of human knowledge. But having a novel understanding of something new is really the only way to expand the entire growth of, or the entire body of human knowledge, not just your own knowledge. So to have this ability to think novelly, to hold new thoughts, to be creative is actually something that's not new, but I think that it's becoming a lot more commonplace. So I'm hoping that in the future, education will evolve so that people are thinking more like doctoral students have thought in the past. And of course, the funny thing is that if you are a doctoral student and you do expand human knowledge, like that was, I don't know, 20 years of your life that you dedicated to expanding the body of human knowledge. And then if you zoom out again to look at the entire body of human knowledge, you see that it's just this little tiny pimple just right on the face. I always thought that was a little silly. But oh my gosh, like I don't even know how I'm going to wrap that up. I just love that analogy that you spend your entire educational career bumping up against this, like the very edge of human understanding in one specific subject. And you dedicate your life to just making this wee tiny little change right there. Not big, not huge, just a little bump. But the idea is that then if everybody, if lots of people go and try to expand human knowledge, then hopefully understanding some new novel subject that you as a doctor might have picked up, might have introduced, then becomes easier for the next individual to pick up. So then they can expand on it even more. And that's how, if you have these little tiny presses, these little tiny bumps around the entirety of the circle of the body of human knowledge, then it does expand slowly. I think it is expanding quite a bit more rapidly than it has in past generations, but that's how it goes. I do think it is unfortunate that a lot of standardized testing has been proven to be which in the past has been the way that you've determined how quote unquote intelligent people have been. They've been completely debunked. It's really easy to see that the roots of a lot of standardized testing is it's just complete garbage. It's horrible, but oh. So it's interesting to think about where we came from, especially in a field that is as abstract as intelligence and understanding in general. And if you do think about your body of knowledge, even these people who were extremely intelligent, who might have gotten their master's degree or doctorate or whatever, they might be very intelligent in one specific subject, but even some of the quote unquote smartest people of the world, the body of knowledge that they do not know is vastly larger than the body of knowledge that they do know and that they do understand. So I think that one of the main differences between somebody who is intelligent and somebody who is maybe seen as not being quite as intelligent, not quite as smart, is that every single person who is smart, hopefully, understands that regardless of how intelligent they are, regardless of how smart they are, they're always humble about understanding that there's something new that they can learn from every single individual that they encounter. And that almost every time they walk into a room, they might, some of the really arrogant people might think that they are the smartest person in the room, but some of the people who are the actual smartest people in the room recognize that even if they are more well-versed in a specific subject, that, the things that they don't know, like I said, much, much larger than the body of knowledge that they do know. So they're always looking for the people that they can learn from, never being arrogant about it, always being humble about the way that they approach learning and everything throughout their entire lives. And I do feel like it's unfortunate that in America, there is this culture of oh, I graduated from high school, so I'm done learning, which is really unfortunate. I think that learning as you get older has to be something that you do need to focus on a little bit more, because when you are a kid, you have all the time in the world, so you get to do whatever the heck you want. So as you get older, it gets a little bit more difficult, but so it goes. It's something that you do need to set aside and make a priority, I feel anyway. So it's something that I feel I try to go out of my way to be humble anytime I meet new people. I try to never assume that I'm more intelligent, that I'm better than anybody else. Unless it's about some subject that I'm really well versed, then yeah, I'll be arrogant about it. Why the heck not, you know? No, I try not to be a know-it-all. I know that sometimes I can come off as kind of like, oh gosh, what's the right word? Kind of like a snooty intellectual type, but I do try to be humble and recognize that I can learn something from everybody and try to continue to learn and to continue to grow my understanding of just about any subject out there. Because I think that, like, if I run into some subject that I don't know a whole lot about, pardon me, unlike some people who would shy away from that kind of thing, I think it's really fun to have that feeling of like being a beginner, basically, in whatever you're looking at, whether it's something like competitive eating or it's something that's a little bit more mainstream, like if you want to learn about history or what have you. Yeah, I think it's great to feel like you're a beginner and that you have infinite possibility to grow. Because when you don't understand much about some specific subject, like, you have the biggest potential to grow in that specific subject. Well, guys, I have eaten most of my lunch. It's kind of hard to see where that is. About 2/3 of this thing is empty. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate anybody who decided to drop in, decided to hang out. Always fun to pick some random topic and riff on it for a while. And as per usual, I'll let you guys know that I am going to be doing this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right around noon, Pacific Standard Time. So until next time, I hope you guys are out there staying healthy, staying happy, making sure that you're staying socially connected with the people that you love, as I think there's hardly anything more important than that, especially in these trying times. So until Wednesday, I need a drink because my throat is dry. My goodness. So until next time, peace out, and you guys have a good one. And stay thirsty for knowledge. That's a good thing too. Not only having a hungry stomach, but a hungry brain. All right, guys, have a good one.